It was the worst winter storm in years. The mercury dipped into the teens, the grid sputtered, rolling blackouts brought misery to 3 million Texans, and our independently operated power grid couldn't handle extremely cold weather. State officials were warned to fix the grid or it would happen again. The warning was ignored. On Valentine's Day 2021, a more powerful polar vortex invaded the state, plunging temperatures into the single digits. Major portions of the power grid crashed. Half the state's power plant generation went down. For the following week, millions went without heat and electricity. Hundreds died. The physical and emotional trauma inflicted on Texans may forever change how we look at the grid, the creature comforts we used to take for granted during extreme winter weather, and right now, when the summer sun starts to bake. State lawmakers and power grid officials scrambled to adopt numerous reforms, insulating and weatherizing power plants and natural gas delivery systems. On July 20th of last year, the summer grid was put to the test. Texans shattered an old record using around 80,000 megawatts of power. The grid bent, but did not break. This summer, we've already broken that record. And while the Blue Peak demand curve seen here is now routinely up around 80,000 megawatts, the daily predicted availability of power is up near 100,000 megawatts.
If you actually add up all the nameplate capacity of power plants we have, it's actually closer to 120.
UT energy expert Joshua Rhodes has been closely monitoring the repairs to the Texas power grid. He says while energy appears to be in greater supply, aging infrastructure and unwillingness to invest in new power plants will soon become a problem.
One of the things we've been doing differently since Winter Storm Uri is we have been operating the grid at a more conservative posture, meaning we've been holding more of these power plants or running these power plants more often than economically necessary to do so, for reliability purposes. And I think that's put extra wear and tear on the system. Just like, the more miles you have on a car, the more likely it is for something to break.
And that's the fear from energy experts all across the state.
I think we're going to be okay this summer, but the trends are not great. We're growing. People want to move to Texas. They want to turn their air conditioners on. And we're going to have to figure out a way to provide more power and more reliable power when we need it.
Russell Gold with Texas Monthly has written extensively about the failures of state officials to invest in the infrastructure needed to competently supply more power generation. He says the weakest link is in the delivery of natural gas during extremely cold and hot weather. Spectrum News reported during the recent record-setting heat wave, numerous gas processing and delivery systems failed, and the grid lost up to 10,000 megawatts from the system.
They've had months to prepare.
That's why another energy reporter, Chris Tomlinson of the Houston Chronicle, says the state needs to enhance development of wind and solar. While both provide an intermittent supply of power, it's a cheap and infinite supply of power.
The goal really is to provide the cheapest electricity possible to Texans. And so most of the time that's going to come from wind and solar. Of course, we're still going to need natural gas and coal and nuclear to some extent to back that up. But that's what those fossil fuels should be for, is backup, not for our everyday power.